Live tonight on American Zombie, hanging out here. StreamYard link is pinned to the top of the chat. Mr. X, good to see you, bro. Great topic. Yes, great. Gated communities of the afterlife. Christopher, good to see you, bro. Says, I remember a movie called The Village, a separate society locked into a village. Wow. Wow, man. Yeah. Happy rising, bro, from across the pond. Always, man. Yeah, the gated communities of the afterlife. I've always wondered why. Why is it that the afterlife or death is always represented by some type of gated community type of thing? I mean, it's like the gates of heaven and the gates of hell. We've always heard that, and we see these gates here, the gated communities. That's basically what I look at these as. It's like, well, why, what's in between the gates? Is that life? I mean, I mean, what could be before the gates? But these gated communities, it makes you wonder, why would they put that? Why would they add that detail into the afterlife? Is it like, I don't know, back to the containment area or something like that? Definitely has me thinking about what comes next. Ric Flair, good to see you, man. Yeah. So, like, what comes next? What is after? And afterwards, for somebody to tell me that it's a gated community, I'm not sure if that's all it's cracked up to be. Could it? I thought many times, pondering the thought, can consciousness age? Can consciousness die? Can it turn into something else? The notion of wanting the consciousness as we know it now to last on forever is kind of a coping mechanism. It's a hope where I'm saying to myself, like, wow, we know the physical doesn't last, and why would we think the consciousness would last? Maybe it lasts longer than the physical, hopefully so. I mean, hopefully it's some type of simulation within a simulation infinitively. So existence being something like that is kind of a trip. Now it becomes row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 because life is just a dream. And if it is, and we're floating down that river of existence, that's amazing to even come across that type of thought. Seeker consciousness, always a pleasure, man. Those who seek find. That's it, man. Seek and ye shall find, said the noble, right? The peace, love, and hair grease. But when I look into something, I think it was Gaia the Sage that mentioned carnelian duality, which is the bridge between worlds. Carnelian served as a setting sun. It's a type of mineral crystal rock, and ancient Egyptian type of representation, transition from life to the next life to the next. Basically, that's the most definitive way. The next. Not sure what the next is, but something is next. We do see it. Oh, okay, cool. I just saw it, man. Good to see. Yeah, I was over on the other page, man. How's everything going, man?
Good, good. Yeah, I've been catching your streams,
Are you
listening
there?
in the background, with work, but you've been doing a great job. And it's a
Nothing's
great.
coming in, but I see your mic moving.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I see it
Now
now.
you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, it's just because I'm circling around this place. That's why. Um, no. I just been listening to the other streams. They've been great. Finally get on with work and everything. But great topic, MD. It's a great topic. I know with 100% certainty we're going somewhere. Now, where we're going, I can't tell you that. How it's going to be like, I could never tell you that. But we are 100% going somewhere after we leave this earth. There's no
Hmm.
ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's not going to just go black, dark to nothing. No, 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 no. The fact that we're even asking this question answers it, I believe.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
fact that we're asking, where do we go? If we weren't going anywhere, we wouldn't be asking the question. We're asking it because we are going somewhere, and that's the truth.
And now, when we go there, like all of the stuff that they tell us, the gates and all of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm not big on
Um,
that, to be honest with you.
yeah, right. They kind of, and I wondered why would the afterlife be a gated community?
I think that's a man's interpretation of what it'd be like. One thing I know for certain, I think that we're not going to know we're dead when we are dead. I think we're going to be in another realm and have no clue whatsoever that we're dead.
Well, the thing that some people might say that there are certain peoples that have had memories of before,
Mhm.
and there's some people that say, well, they proved it by saying certain things, and it could be. See, this is the thing. It could be that, like, I've heard somebody having a scar in the same place that other people had a scar, um, in the same place that the person was, I think, ended. But when I look at it, like, very looking at it through a very scientific lens, it it has a way with sometimes seeming like it's dismissing relevant information when
Mhm.
really it's clearing the way to see the root of everything, to say, okay, would somebody why would somebody even have the notion of a gated community of heaven, a gated of hell? So it's like keeping all of what would be the good in an area and then the bad in the area. It's like a pen, like to
Mhm.
say, okay, it's like an experiment almost, to say, okay, these will go into this petri dish and the others will go into this petri dish. The ones who, I guess, exhibited this type of behavior during the experiment. So, and that's, looking at it still in the way that something comes after this.
Yeah.
But what came before it, when I think even if somebody has memories and talks about reincarnation, that could be something that can be attributed to other things. It can
Yes.
be attributed to maybe streaming in some type of memory from somewhere else, maybe genetic memory that's in the tissues and the genetics from somebody
Which
that,
I believe that's true. I do believe
yeah,
in that.
yeah. And we see that scientifically. So that could also account for what would be like a shadow type of memory effect, think that could mask itself as reincarnation. So
Exactly. I
I'm
agree.
just looking for scientific ways to say, it's not saying reincarnation doesn't exist. It's saying maybe it does exist, but maybe it only exists in a fraction
Hmm.
of what we think it's capable of. That not everybody gets reincarnated, that there are other, people will go forward into something else. And then when we look about going forward, that's when I had that thought of what if we pass into the future, which is a something that nobody really thinks about. I haven't heard anybody that has proposed that except for myself, about what if when we pass into the future. That would be kind of odd,
Mm.
like how we know right now is creating the past, and that's what that is based upon. um, it's an extrapolation, which of course can be wrong, but it also can be right. Like, driving west from the East Coast, you're going to hit land. And as you get to the West Coast, eventually, if you extrapolate from the East Coast, you will be correct in predicting land every 100 miles. For
Hmm.
3,000 miles, you'll say, wow, again, the extrapolation is on. But then once you hit the coast of California, it falls apart, because now you say, whoa, it's water. And if you were to say, okay, it's like a body of water that's not large, maybe 100 miles in, we'll hit land again. You'd be wrong, because now you're about to begin one of the longest oceanic voyages across the Pacific, which now to extrapolate water being for the next 100 and then 100 miles and 100 miles would be the correct extrapolation at that point until you hit the coast of China. And then it's like, uh-oh, now we're starting to see is it going to go back to land? Is it going to go back to this? So extrapolating in that sense of saying, okay, we see how things exist right now. We see that the past is being created, and on the extrapolation of how the present is creating the past, it makes sense. And it could be wrong. It could be, where we're at the point we're on the West Coast, so we're not seeing land anymore, it's water. Or it could be we're in the middle of the country where the extrapolation would be correct, in a sense, to say that what comes next is, possibly something like another existence similar to this, maybe something different, something we can't even comprehend.
And that's the problem because it's another dimension. And I think the physical laws that apply here don't apply in that other dimension.
Mm-hmm.
We're above those laws at that point. Where
Mm-hmm.
the time, like where we can only move forward in time, pretty much. We can't move back, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We can't make time stop. But I think in that other dimension, we're not bounded by time like we are
Mm-hmm.
here. So the physical laws cease to exist. We're not, maybe laws like gravity also. You can look at that. We're just not in the physical anymore. So certain laws will not no longer apply to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this Divine Hazel, good to see you. Wow, she said, yeah, she said she's been through it, man. This is that's some serious stuff. Yeah, we wondered about the gatedness. That's the experiment. It's like, okay, so afterwards, what is it that, they're testing me in a way? And if I look at it from that, we're a scientific experiment, it would say, depending on our behavior, it depends on which containment unit we go into. So for the next stage, it's to say, okay, you'll either go into the gated containment, a gated community is a contained area. So the contained area known as hell, or the contained area known as heaven. So could hell be looked at as the trash? Could that be the incinerator that says the experiment failed and we'll just redo it again? That's the contemplation of it. That's it really gets you to wonder, like, wow, when looking at it and through these different apertures, we get such an amazing variety of thoughts to say it could be so many different things.
Well, one way to answer it, MD, is to look at what's our purpose of this existence in this physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
What are we really here for? Are we here to become famous? Are we here to make a lot of money? Or are we here to be morally type people based on our moral code of ethics? What is our ultimate purpose
Mm-hmm.
of our physical existence, which is temporary?
Yeah.
We're only here for a short time, and that's the question that needs to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we here?
Yeah. That's a very important question. I mean, part of it would be to, I think, experience the existence itself, to try to figure out, okay, what am I in? And I understand why people are lean toward physics, to try to understand the physical world. Also, part, without a doubt, would be to try to contemplate where we're going. To say, okay, I'm going somewhere and I'm seeing that I can't take nothing physical with me. Everything I love and it's here is borrowed. So it's going to evaporate. It's going to change. And so am I, and I'm going somewhere. They say that sorcerers and sorceresses, they come to a point when they realize, the moment that they truly embrace their metaphysical powers is when they know that one day they will not be here. They start to realize that this is an existence that will come to a change where we're not here in the form that we see. We grew, and something grew with our body, our consciousness, probably it could be called, but definitely we saw something, two things. It's like at the least, we see how we're two things. We're probably much more, because then we see that the physical that we thought was one of those things, it's actually more than one, that the human body cells are less than half of the bacteria cells. So
Hmm.
we're like a physical functioning body that needs microbiomes of bacteria all around that body to maintain certain areas. It's just a fascinating model when you look at it. It's like just unbelievable when you
And
look
it
at
didn't
some of it.
happen by chance, that's for sure. That's for sure. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that's the most ridiculous explanation there is. Because even if it did, all those pieces, like we'd use the bike analogy, all those pieces, first of all, would be created to serve no purpose until all the other pieces came into existence. And then they'd have to be intact perfectly until they came into existence, which makes zero sense. That defies the laws of physics, or it would deteriorate just like a fish would deteriorate within a day if you left it outside. And no, all the pieces have to come together, organized, designed immediately with an instantaneous reaction. That's why the biblical story of creating Adam out of dirt, this entity with a mind outside the human mind, makes a lot more sense because it happened instantaneously. It
Mhm.
has to. That's where all the evidence points to on a scientific basis.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. It points toward it clearly. I mean, and the problem again, like we touched upon, is that you have a lot of religious leaders that they start to really push on that whole religion thing, to just it's their way. It's, okay, they disproved evolution, great, but then to automatically run to something that's not scientific, it kind of gets the people. Now I see why so many people believe in evolution, because they don't get a break. It's like there is really not too many places where a person will have an honest scientific conversation to say, we really don't know. That's the truth. That's the scientific truth. But we can speculate. We can extrapolate on what we have. We can look through the way time is moving, ever so constantly forward. But where's that forward coming from? Is it, we think that this is a point, like we are the thing that's moving through the stream of time. But what if it's the time that's moving past us? So what if we're standing still in different realities and the time is passing through us? So the forward model of us right now, that is 1 minute ahead or two or five or hours ahead or days or years or even lifetimes. I mean, that could exist, and it flows back to create the present moment the way the present moment flows back to create the past. So we know for sure the present moment is creating the past. And that's where if somebody says, well, this is all made up, it's like, no, it's based on that right there. It's based on that, because remember, they're taught to believe what they've been told to believe. And they will defend that. I mean, that ain't trying to get to dislodge that mental block is almost impossible. A person has to think for themselves. It's we can find the secret path and walk them up the side of the mountain out onto a plateau where they have a broad view of the truth, but they must open their eyes. They have to open their eyes. You can show, it's like Mark Twain's saying, no amount of evidence can convince an idiot. It just can't. You must realize that there's some points that you're not going to accomplish something at that moment. At that moment, the person is close. The cup is full. That's where that saying, the martial arts saying, where your cup is too full. You're full of belief, full of certainty to know for sure things that you could not possibly know for sure. So there's no room. The cup is full. Anything somebody tries to say, and hey, uh, let's think about this. And no, for sure the cup is full. There's no room for growth. And that is so important to look at that, to say, yeah, we have to always leave room to know that that unknown shows us that the cup can never really be full.
But
And
here's the pro. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah,
The problem with atheism or the belief in the evolution or all naturalism in general is too many people are going to have experiences with the supernatural. That's not going to change. So that's why that model of thinking can never really work long term. Yeah, you can teach to young kids in school who maybe haven't had those experiences, but other people through life, they're going to have experiences. They're going to change their views. They're going to want answers, and they're going to have things that they can't explain that they've gone through. And the naturalistic explanation is not going to cut it for them because they're going to know what they experienced was real, and they'll lean to other texts or other they'll search for the answers. Let's put it that way. They'll start once you have those experiences, you can't get it out, and you're not going to deny it. You may not talk about it openly because you don't want people thinking you're crazy, but it's going to happen. So that's why it's never going to fully take. We don't live this naturalistic world doesn't really, it's all naturalism doesn't exist. We have experiences with the supernatural while we're here on this earth. So that's why it never takes. That's why this belief has existed for since the beginning of mankind.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
you're right. As room, brother, thank you for the support, man. Appreciate it, man. We got the link pinned if you want to hop on. Yeah, man. A lot of people to speculate can it's a great thing. It's a great thing. Vegan skeptic, man. Good to see you, brother. Kyle, good morning, Babylon. Yeah, what is time without numbers? It still moves forward, right?
Hmm.
If we didn't have numbers to express time, we would definitely still see a change.
Yeah, we'd see us changing definitely physically.
Yeah, I guess that's when the natives would go by calling it moons.
Mm.
Like I guess a night, a moon, and a sun is a year, but many moons, when you look at it going through many moons, you say, yeah, that is a much more accurate way of tracking. Yeah, time. Yeah, memory. Yeah, time without numbers is memory. Wow, that's deep.
Mm. Yeah.
That is real deep. It's like, man, time without numbers. Yeah, the memory. You look at things change, the seasons. Those seasons, and to see how many seasons go by. To say like, okay, how do I chart that? How does one come up with the meaning for these successive seasons? And it really is amazing when you think about just everything that's been like led up to this point, right?
Yeah, but I think the numbers are important as a measuring stick because it proves that it's relative to speed and to, of course, gravity. So that's an important point because if we can measure the time, then we can know that's another measurement that can be taken, and that leads to the conclusion that there's another realm that's beyond time that is not subject to time, like we here are on the physical. Um, so that's why, yeah, I mean, that's why I think the numbers are relevant, just to know that it's relative. That's a good way to put it, but yeah. Um, yeah, time is definitely relative, and I think in that spiritual realm, for sure.
Hmm.
We can move much slower. It won't be bounded by it. We probably can go from the past to the future and back and forth. I don't think we'll be constrained. We'll be here on the physical plane, which is temporary, a very short blip of time if you think about it. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What do you think will come after it? Do you think there'll be temporary existences like this one, or more of an everlasting one?
my guess would be an everlasting one. I think because I believe our existence didn't start in the physical. We didn't come into existence when we were born here on this earth. I think we were existing a long time before we came into Earth. We
Hmm.
existed in the non-physical. That's why a lot of I've heard this before where people said they've had these near-death experiences and it's like, oh, I'm home. I'm back, like where I started from, where I came from. I have heard interviews like that of people who've had near-death experiences while, in the hospital. Um, so yeah, I think it's everlasting. I do that I do believe, but that's belief. No way. If people ask me to prove it, can't do it. It's just it's a belief. I don't claim it's scientific at all. It's
Yeah.
supernatural. But that's why I can't stand the evolutionists. That they say no, you can't prove it. It's not scientific. Well, neither are yours. But you don't want to accept that. So it's like, don't ask me to prove me. I'm the one who's saying it's a belief. I'm not the one claiming it's scientific. You are. So it's burden of proof is on you to prove it.
Well, we know that when they can't prove it, they've been shown to lie many times.
Of
So
course.
it's like, when you can't prove it on an evolution side, just make a fake claim
Yeah.
and put it
And
in a
insult.
text.
Don't forget to insult because if you don't agree with them, you're considered a dumbass, basically. And they'll tell you that too.
Yeah.
Didn't you study your high school biology or are you an idiot? Did you ever pass,
Yeah.
science class? It's like that. That's what they resort to. Not to mention the fact that some of the most premier scientists in this world are actually believers in creation. So
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
not scientists either. Sorry, go ahead.
There's one guy, Flint Dibble. I think he's an archaeologist at a university. Somebody triggered him. He's running around just like very, very angry that there are so much artifacts popping up about ancient civilizations, and
Hmm.
how things couldn't have been created the way they said. And AI is really deciphering a lot of stuff too, which is very amazing.
Yeah, I did hear briefly a video of AI, and it said the scientific method can show the process, but not the reason why. AI said that. So yeah, it can show the process, but it can't show what was the cause of it. That is not scientific. The AI said that. So
Hmm. Wow.
yeah,
I
which is
think
not.
I wonder if it can get closer to deciphering some of the hieroglyphs.
That would be very interesting. I know there's some video on it. I don't know how accurate they are, but they're starting with those videos. But I don't know how accurate they are at this point. But yeah, it seems like a whole nother language, almost a language of a hybrid being. There was definitely a great civilization that existed, and I don't think it's tied to any race or culture. I think this was some other race of people because you can find these ancient sites all over the world with ways they built them that people still can't explain. And they had to use machinery or lasers. They had to have advanced technology to build these structures.
Hmm.
So, but it's all over the world. So you can't tie it to the Egyptian people. You can't tie it to the Asian people. Can't tie it to the Mexican people. But you'll find these structures everywhere.
Yeah.
So why are they there? Who built them? Now the
Yeah.
Bible talks about the Nephilim,
Hmm.
that they were these angels came down and had children with women who were fair. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Those accounts should be taken into consideration because they're part of the story that we need to figure out. Like, okay, we're trying to figure out what is the true origins of life, and in that pursuit, of course, the question of where did humans come from always pops up, and we start to see more and more that there's a constant cover up. It's not even that the shocking revelation that we didn't just happen by chance, that there's a fingerprint of engineering and construction on every type of life you can see around, and even the environment itself. You would think, how does this come to be? And just as you go to think about that, you see people coming to distract you. That's the red flag. You see these professors. Oh, well, let me tell you how things came to be. Meanwhile, when you question it, when you say, okay, so you use science to find this out, right? So science is about questioning and growing and learning and challenging what we know so we can learn more and change according to the evidence to get a better, a more realistic view of existence. But we don't see that in the science. They just try to tell us another fairy tale in the modern sciences. And when you ask, well, if we use the scientific method that they tell us about, but that doesn't matter now. Now it comes back to believe me. The textbook said it. So it's like an ingenious way that they recreated religion with a pseudoscientific covering, like a book covering. So, I look at that like, wow, very surprised. I mean, especially in academic settings, the peer pressure is
Can you hear
immense.
me, MD?
Yeah, I hear you now. Well, yeah, I couldn't
Okay,
hear
just
you.
making sure that somebody called me. That's why.
Oh,
Sorry
okay.
about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you try to speak out in an academic setting, I can imagine it. Could the peer pressure must be?
Well, that's what Ken Hovind used to do back in his early days. He used to go to different colleges and debate evolution, and he took some heat for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think the problem is coming out religiously and debating it.
I agree, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, those are two separate topics altogether.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there's plenty of religions to choose from, plenty. Heck, you can even make up your own if you wanted to. If you don't like any of them, just make up your own if you want to. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But yeah, that's where they get it wrong. They start preaching, and it's like, no, that's the wrong. That's a whole different issue.
Yeah, they'll debunk things scientifically, showing how ape cannot turn into man, how baboon cannot turn into ape, how the genes work, regulatory systems. You look at the immune system, the entire functioning within the body of a baboon to change slowly into another primate is just it's ridiculous. Like looking at an insect to
Hmm.
have that change into another insect. And this is where the lies that are created on tap just astonish me till this day when you ask an evolutionist for proof of how something will turn into something else, and they'll constantly create these fictional characters, common
Yeah,
ancestors, that don't exist.
as much relevance as me saying ghosts exist based on a picture of Casper. It's as
Mhm.
much. That's just equally as scientific. Equally.
Casper, you'd at least have a picture of Casper.
Yeah,
They'll do it. They'll say, no, it was Casper had a common ancestor with this
yeah,
ghost.
that's
And
right.
then you're like, wait a second. So they're like, yeah, yeah, no, there's no name, or it's just a common ancestor that we haven't found yet.
Mhm. Or they'll give it a complex scientific term like it's abiogenesis. You're not familiar with that? Mean life coming from non-life sounds like a miracle to me, but you want to give it a scientific name. That's part of their deception.
Yeah, they try to do experiments on life coming from no life on a planet with life.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, no matter how hard they try, the what was it? The effect from the slit experiment. The how things change when they're being observed.
right.
So it shows us. I mean, that experiment alone shows us that the universe knows when it's being watched.
Yes, yes. And then if you ask how these can you do these changes in a lab? No, no, no. That takes millions of years. So wait a minute. You can't do it in a lab because it takes millions of years. That sounds like a belief to me. That doesn't sound very scientific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
total belief.
But they know that too. A lot of them, they know that. They're just not honest about it. And I completely understand the guys who are getting paid. Those guys I get. It's the zombies that should scare you. Because those are
Yeah,
the people that will believe anything.
yeah.
Anything. Throughout history, all the terrible dictators we've had throughout the world who've oppressed, who've killed. Guess what? They didn't have to do the oppressing and killing. They had the zombies do it. So it's the
Mhm.
zombies that are the ones you got to watch out for because they will just follow orders blindly.
Absolutely,
I,
absolutely.
I mean, look at the history of this country with segregation. You know, I
Mhm.
mean, they passed the laws, but it was the zombies that oppressed people
Yeah.
or that attacked people or tortured people. It was the zombies who said, "Oh, okay, since the law says it, it's right."
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. And continues that they get conditioned and they continue it even after the law is changed. They'll
true.
be so bent, and it just shows you how a human being can be conditioned. We see it with the illegalization of certain things, and then they'll legalize that same
Yeah,
thing.
and now it's okay. Now it's
Yeah,
beneficial for you.
it's
Before
really,
it was a
really,
gateway drug that could lead to destruction. Now, oh no, it's fine. Actually, it serves a lot of good medical purposes. And
yeah,
people's like, oh, okay, it's
exactly.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
and the zombies just, yeah, they go right along with it, and it just, it's actually, it's frightening. I see where those movies, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Dawn of the Dead, had a very strong meaning. Definitely similarities throughout society. I see it. You look at society and it's like, oh my goodness. It's like people, you try to talk with them,
Hmm.
there's just, they'll respond in a mind numbing way. And then if uh if they find out that you're too aware about the agenda, that's when in all of the movies they try to attack
Yeah.
anything to keep that society of mundane, um just a mundane existence.
Hmm. They will believe anything. I mean, just and we see it in all groups. I think. I think we definitely see it in all groups across the world. If we look dig deep enough, we'll see it. Um, some of the communists, some of the tyrannies that happen throughout the world. I mean,
Hmm.
they just follow the state's orders. You know.
It's really amazing that a lot of cultures looked at certain crystals as things, amulets could be used to protect a person
Mhm.
on their journey. So they always looked at it as some type of journey too. So it wasn't just like a transition, it was a journey. It's a transition that actually was a journey. It wasn't a, I guess, as far as, why would somebody say that if they're implying that it's not just a switch over, it's a journey.
Mm. Yeah, because they probably had dealt. All these cultures, I have no doubt, had spiritual guides or dealt with the supernatural on a regular basis. I have no doubt whatsoever. Because I think that's where it all comes from. I don't think they're inventing this in their own mind. Any group of people, it's coming from a being from another dimension. That's definitely what's happening, and a lot of the knowledge is being passed down. It's what I'm saying is basically people are all equal when it comes down to it, and the evidence supports that. But this higher knowledge is coming from a being from another realm. That's personally what I believe, and there's a lot of ways to back that up too.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, a lot of scientists, a lot of your brilliant people were heavily involved in communicating with spirits and other beings, well documented. So I
Hmm.
think that's where and it's not to demean any race of people because like I say, I think they're all equal. I don't think there's
Hmm.
any superior race whatsoever that exists. I think we're all equal. Comes down to it, and the evidence supports that too. I mean, you can
Hmm.
find, gay, straight in every group. You can find guys who like to dress up as women in every group. You know what I'm saying? You can find this
Hmm.
character, this like one peculiar person is. You
Hmm.
see more similarities than you see differences. So it obviously means equal. Um,
Yeah.
that's what the evidence points to. Yeah, but I think a higher knowledge. I think it came from a spiritual realm. I do. I really do.
Hmm. Yeah. Tony Snow's got a good comment. Good to see you, bro. He said, y'all watched that Jeffrey Epstein interview that got released today. What he said about what's the definition of a soul was interesting.
Oh, I didn't
Wow.
hear that. I like to hear what he said. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I got to check that. Definitely, man. Thanks. Wow. There's just, I mean, that whole thing with I mean, that's a big one too. I mean, they just, the soap opera continues, the political soap opera
Hmm.
of
And you
just
saw they had the Golden Dome on that Epstein Island.
hmm
What were
yeah,
they doing there? I mean, that then you could look back to the movie Eyes Wide Shut. What was going on? It seems like that's real life. Like Kubrick had it nailed down. He knew what was going on.
yeah, yeah. It was something
Yeah.
very, very yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Had the one.
spiritual. It's they say it's fertility, that some of that sexual energy is fed to the spirits, and amongst other things too, I might add. That aren't so nice. But yeah,
Hmm.
that seems to be what's happening. I mean, they definitely had underage people there. I won't get too into it. I don't want to cross any lines here, but that's what was going on for sure.
Hmm.
I mean, an island with wealthy people visiting them. I mean, the most powerful people, our president of the United States was there, and probably other presidents too, the Clintons
Hmm.
and so forth. So, yeah, guess what? I think Kubrick had it right. I don't think it's just fantasy.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I was looking up that thing, Carnelian duality, about belief that the spirit and the body are different. And then I guess the belief in that they're not different, that they're one, would be atheism, I guess. Or
Well, they don't
maybe,
believe there is a spirit, do they? I mean, they just think
yeah,
it's
or
all
maybe, yeah,
physical.
yeah, that might be it. I think people, what would that be if somebody believed it's one part? So that means they must think that the spirit dies with the body, maybe.
Well, it makes no sense because that would contradict free will and free thought. We'd just be physically programmed or hardwired genetically to think the way we think. It wasn't even our fault. And then nobody's culpable in any negligence, like somebody commits an atrocity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the genetic lottery that they came out as. They don't have a spirit with
Yeah,
free will to do right or wrong. They don't have that.
yeah. Oh,
Which, of
I
course,
had it
that doesn't
different.
our life. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
think I had it. I had it. I was off. It was Cartesian. Cartesian. That's what it was.
Oh,
Responsive Kurd
Cartesian.
said he watched some of it. Jeffrey is on $1. Yeah, I've seen that on the $20 bill. The Epstein thing. It's called being connected to source. Mr. X Gollum says.
Hmm.
Okay,
Connected
or
to
it could be
source. Maybe we can expand
demonic.
on that.
He's saying,
Oh,
AKA demonic possession. Hmm.
which I believe in, 100%.
Wow. That Epstein Island of pick of Trump. Wow. Yeah, they are just yeah, there's
Eyes
some
wide shut in real life. Eyes wide shut in real life.
yeah.
All the zombies think they're voting for somebody who's here to defend the country, is upstanding, and then they see that. You know?
Yeah, so it's not Carnelian, it's Cartesian dualism proposed by Rene Descartes. And it's a theory that the mind and the body are two fundamentally different substances. So basically, yeah, the immaterial thinking mind and the physical body. So, but now I guess that could go into many, many different categories.
But a lot of atheists, I heard one on the Tacos channel, he was saying he was a fan of Descartes. So it's like, wait a minute, now you're contradicting yourself. If the mind is non-physical, that no, that doesn't work. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
naturalism, all physical.
Yeah. Yeah. They again they'll go back to Descartes evolved, such a great intellect. It's like really, it's like evolved, right?
Yeah, something non-physical evolved also. Is that what we're thinking,
Yeah, they just I mean, adaptation alone is showing how something is responding to environment. And that
Sure.
respond to an environment seems to be a pre-programmed response. When something responds, it doesn't just respond by accident.
Right.
And that, just basic thinking really just
Yeah, you don't need to
yeah.
be a scientific expertise to look at the flaws, to see the flaws. First off, why is evolving from an ape into a human a good thing? Why is that even a higher level? That implies some type of blueprint by some kind of creator.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, again, yeah, they wanted to separate it. They wanted to create a hierarchy. And that's what really seems behind it. I mean, the amount of propaganda that they pushed to say that certain people were closer to the apes is
Hmm.
just documented everywhere. It's like throughout the 17 and 1800s, it's just inundating. It's like I mean, the human zoos at the 1900s,
Right.
just yeah. I mean,
And
that
they
should.
interviewed some of the people who went to those zoos, and they said after they saw it, they didn't feel right. There was something really bothering them
Mm-hmm.
about those human zoos. Which, yeah, because it's not right. It goes
Yeah.
against the creator's order
Yeah,
of
it
what is
shows
right.
that they know deep down inside they wouldn't feel good being treated that way.
Exactly.
So it's like extended morality to know, to say, wait a second, this is not right.
Yeah. It's
You
like
know,
the other day, down here in Florida, I think I ran over a lizard that might have been dead. I might have been. But, I didn't lose any sleep over it. But if that had been a human being, like a little child, that'd be a big problem in my life. That's called living in reality. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
Separating animal from human, but they don't do that. And according to and of course, if you confront them with that, they'll say, no, 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 it's different. It's different. We evolved. It's like, oh, geez, here we go again. No. According to your theory, there should be no difference between that lizard or a human. They should all be the same. But that's not the reality of the world I live in. You know. So
Wow.
human zoo is the same thing. We go to the zoo all the time. We see animals. We probably don't lose sleep over it. They're animals. But you see a human in there, that's gonna have a serious effect on you.
Yeah, it's really messed up. I mean, even seeing animals in there, when you see that they're not happy,
Mhm.
it's messed up. It's a whole different feel than going to that place by the shore where the animals swim up to the tank window,
Mhm.
where the people are in the cage and they go through the safari, and they see the animals in the wild while the people are in the encagement. To
Right.
see them in the cages, it really, I mean, you see broken beings.
Mhm.
It's so sad. They say zoos are a jail where all the prisoners are innocent. That's what, yeah, I remember seeing that saying, and it made so much sense. Saying, yeah, what did these animals do beside exist to be put in that type of a situation? And it makes you wonder what has programmed, I would say, humans to make them think that's okay to do, that they have the right to do that to another being when that being just wants to live free. I mean, they
Mhm.
had some pictures of dolphins being in a pool for like 50 years, swimming in a circle. I mean, you talk on a level of cruelty.
Yeah. Some animals aren't meant to be caged. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Abe Patterson's right, man. Birds in a cage. It's like you look at this stuff, it's like let these things be free. Fish in a tank. It's like why, You think that animal really wants to be in a tank? It just it makes a person wonder. It's like, would you want to be kept if you couldn't leave the place? So everything's there for you, but you can't leave.
It's a prison, basically.
Yeah, but a comfortable one. So they'll get you everything you want. You just can't leave. And the fish is the really good example because nobody's taking a fish tank with them.
No.
So that's something that's just there. Furniture at that point. And the bird is sad too, man. When you look at the bird cage, it's like, yeah, that's some brutal stuff, man. Yeah, SeaWorld, just some brutal SeaWorld. SeaWorld is an example of it's one of the best examples to show on why this is not a civilization, how barbaric this is. No matter how technologically advanced it looks, it has that, that underside, that's SeaWorld. To say, yeah, how could you guys, keep these animals in this type of containment? What type of monsters are you? It's like and then when you think about if aliens were to say, well, how would you feel if we contained you in those things? Some of the earthlings would say, well, we've done that already. We've done that. We've done that to people we think that are lesser, people that have the same blood type, the same physiology, hands, legs, limbs, fingers. We've did that. So we're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and it's like the immaturity, I mean, the arrogance too. The arrogance.
Yeah.
And again, that's what we looked up yesterday with the pride. The pride creating that arrogance. The notion of pride creates that arrogance. And
I agree.
yeah, it's and it's pushed everywhere.
Well, it also
Everywhere.
allowed human experiments, not just in World War II in Germany, but also even here at home. They've experimented on human being subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Evolution's got an ugly history. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of doing like short videos for the book. I just been getting the charts together just so when I release it, I'll at least have some type of video stuff to talk about, and then go into. But this Cartesian duality, it's a really deep thing. It's funny how if the atheists quote this guy, this Cartes,
Yeah.
because that's odd. That's very
Yeah.
odd.
One of the biggest atheists on the Chagos channel is like, I'm a big fan of Descartes. And it's like, well, now that you tell me that, because I didn't really get that much into Descartes, to be honest with
That's
you.
if I guess it's the same guy, Descartes.
Yeah, it's the same guy. It's the exact same guy. He's French, the French
Yeah,
philosopher.
yeah.
Yeah, he quoted him. So it's like, wait a minute. Now that you tell me
Wow,
that, it's like that doesn't make any sense.
wow.
What they do is, they try. This is how dishonest they are because they'll say the universe has a mind, or there's a quantum field, or there's a dark matter, or whatever they want to call it, and that's what creates everything, or puts together things, or basically implies that it has a mind. They
Hmm.
just want to get away from any religious aspect whatsoever. They can't justify their beliefs because it doesn't make any sense. So
Hmm.
they'll just replace it with other things. Like Descartes will call it the mind instead of the soul. Basically,
Yeah,
just playing with words. I think at the end of the day,
yeah, yeah. Because he's trying to say that the immaterial mind is not subject to physical laws, which could be true, and also it could be partially true to where
but
it
it's
might
not
be.
scientific. You can't do
Yeah,
that. You can't prove that in a lab. That's for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like okay, what physical law is the mind subject to? How do we even you can't weigh the mind. It's you can weigh the brain, but it seems that you
Hmm.
can't weigh the mind. And
Exactly.
yeah, the mind. Hmm. Yeah, it's
And they're just playing with words. That's what they're doing. That
good. They had
tells you it's a
some.
fraud right there.
Yeah, yeah. They say that the interaction problem asks how mind and body can casually interact given their heterogeneous natures. So, see, that's the thing. It's like, how could you even call the mind heterogeneous? It's
Exactly.
like they don't realize that you're dealing with something that seems to not be in the physical world,
Yeah.
seems to maybe be received, or like there's a possibility that the body could generate some type of field that might be able to receive it, or what materialists say that the body generates, the consciousness, which in many instances doesn't seem to be correct.
No, it's not. They're just looking for a naturalistic explanation.
Yeah.
That's what they're begging to find some type of. They presuppose a naturalistic explanation to everything.
Hmm.
So anything supernatural will be automatically rejected. Like if you bring in a religious topic, no, that didn't happen. It can't be a creator, it can't be a god. No, that
Hmm.
can't happen. But if we can tie it into naturalism, then that's possible. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. They're trying to come up with some type of naturalistic explanation for it. Even if it's completely wrong, they'll adopt it. Doesn't matter. Just as long as it ties into naturalism, that's what they'll accept.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even the scientific studies that they do, it presupposes naturalism as the answer before it even starts. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Preconceived answers.
exactly.
Yeah. And we see that a lot. They'll just, to the point where, yeah, it's like that cage, that mental cage of evolution is really, really slick, man. Yeah. Very, very, very slick.
And I threw it at the atheists, the evolutionists, one time when I was on the tacos channel, and I said, well, if evolution is true, then is it most plausible that some races are more superior than other races? Like, oh no, 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 that's not the case. It's like, wait a minute. You mean this evolutionary process has a sense of morality? Is that what you're saying? So, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if what you're saying is true, then some people should be evolved more higher than others.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
perfectly legitimate, you know?
Exactly. It's not going to evolve on a regular plane.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's a legit question, and nothing
Oh
wrong
yeah.
with that, but they didn't want to hear it. No, evolution has a sense of morality. Everybody's equal. They came up with some BS answer too, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so it has a mind of its own, basically, is what you're saying. It's like they're just playing with words. They don't want to claim a creator, but they claim evolution does have a mind of its own.
Yeah. It's an agenda.
Yeah.
It's definitely an agenda that is pushed. I mean, when you see that they build universities, right?
Hmm.
They build universities. Well, really, it's churches disguised as universities,
Yeah.
and they put up priests disguised as professors, and it's basically to turn people into the religion of atheism, which is it's kind of deadening. It's kind of, in a
Yeah.
way, I don't want to say soul deadening, but kind of like just saying, it's kind of like, really, so it kind of limits, like, so there's nothing past this, so you really think that this is it. So anything supernatural is dismissed.
Yeah.
So in a way, they mentally neuter themselves.
But it doesn't
Where
last.
now, yeah, they can't, their thoughts can't
Mhm.
produce anything.
But there's a video about an atheist professor. He was actually a professor who had a near-death experience. Now, I can't say if it's legit or not. I don't know. But there
Hmm.
is one case of that where he had a near-death experience. He's a devout atheist. He was a professor, and now he changed and became a preacher after that. Now it's out there, but I have no
Hmm.
doubt though that people are going to have experiences with the supernatural. So they can deaden all they want to, but that's not going to change
Hmm.
reality. They're still going to have to go through reality, whether they like it or not. And naturalism is doesn't explain all of reality. It's not going to happen that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just telling you whatever you experience is all in your head. Like say something like sleep paralysis, which is very common, very common. Um, they'll think it was all in my head. I'm going nuts. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. But in
Mm.
the end, I don't think I mean, it all comes down to moral values too. It doesn't work in the long run. Let's put it that way. Not in this world, that's for sure. But the problem is some of the what we've seen historically of how other people, other races were treated. Now, obviously, in today's day and age, with communication and people get to know each other on a worldwide basis, that doesn't take as much as it used to, 100 years ago. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. People can relate to each other a little bit much better today than they ever could in the past. The guy's
Hmm.
room to come on, he's all the way in India. But 100 years ago, people would have had preconceived notions of people from other areas with a different language that were totally wrong. You know how it is. It's all mental, the mental games that are out there. So
Mm. Yeah, it's like I noticed that a lot of Christians are on the bandwagon. Yeah,
mhm.
Brian's right. Yeah, the one guy got so butthurt when I left a comment. He's a Christian, so-called evolution professor, and I was like, wow, this guy's really, you know, He's like tender. Yeah, they try to push that narrative that we're just meat puppets. They totally,
Yeah,
totally try to, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. See, that's the thing. They have a point about the religious zombification, but they don't realize that religion is based on a belief, which creates a behavior and it sparks the people to want a belonging. So atheism itself is a belief that they deny of. But you're right, they have a point about religious zombification. Totally, totally. The religious, but when I look at them and I say, okay, well, they're religious too, that's when they get mad to say, well, wait a second. It's like, no, 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 you're telling me you believe that there's nothing that created everything, or maybe groups of creators. You're just saying that it happened by chance. That's a belief. You
right.
believe it happened by chance. You don't know for sure, so that's a belief, which creates a type of behavior, and it seeks for a belonging to other people with that same behavior and belief. And that's what we see with these circles of atheists and evolutionists. So they can't really deny the science of showing how they are also in a religion because they are believing. But what's more dangerous is they're in a belief system, a religion, and they don't even know they're in a religion. So
And
at
it's
least,
taxpayer funded
yeah, yeah.
and forced on children in schools.
Hmm.
That's not right.
But at least the religious person knows they're religious to say,
Of
okay, if they
course.
want to leave the religion, they know, okay, they believe in Christianity or Islam or Judaism or Hinduism or Buddhism. And now they say, okay, that's what they're leaving. The evolutionist doesn't even know that they're religious. They're like, what do you mean? Leaving what? And
Hmm.
it's like leaving your belief system. They're like, I don't have, this is science. So now you're dealing with somebody who's on a high level of self delusion,
Yes.
and yeah, the pastors, there's a lot of other things pastors believe in, but they do that to broaden the net. They do that to broaden the net to
Right.
grab in. as many as they can. Like
It's all
it,
about money for them. That's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah. It's about, hey, come, you want to believe that? Just as long as just pass around the plate,
Exactly.
pass the plate, the book, the plate, the sword. And
Hmm.
that's how it's always been. I mean,
It's all about the
just,
money. They're not there really. They don't really care if you believe in evolution or not. It doesn't matter to
yeah,
them. As long as you're given money.
yeah. And it shows right here. Yeah. It's a contradiction to it. And it just shows you how mentally zombified people are. To have both of those, it just shows you like, wow, so that's how low they've stooped to get membership, And we saw what happened with Joel Osteen when people needed his help a few years ago.
Yeah.
And the I mean, people still made excuses for that. I was like, wow. It
Well,
just
you know how you tend to tell who the false preachers are is they glorify themselves. They don't glorify the creator. It's all about Joel Osteen. You'll see his name everywhere.
mhm,
It's all about him. You see his face up there with smiling,
mhm,
and he's constantly smiling. It's all about him. But people don't see that. They're zombified. No, hey, the religious zombies are just as bad. Trust me. They're following a guy who's only there to make profit. That's it.
mhm, yeah.
You're not there to get into the deep questions about the afterlife like we're discussing here. No, no, it's about loving him, believing him, and giving money. More importantly,
Mhm,
yeah. So they're zombified too. No quit, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I understand perfectly when people say, "Oh, religious zombies." I understand. Most
mhm,
of them are. I agree.
yeah. Yeah, they definitely got some seriously religious zombies. These guys, it just, yeah, it makes you wonder. It's like the fact that the people in the academic structure are pushing evolution the way they do. I mean, that's a big red flag to say, wait a minute, why are these people trying to get me to believe this under the disguise of thinking it's science? And they're
Yeah.
constantly pushing. I mean, that should be a red flag right there to say, wait, why? And then, they're like, well, this is scientific, this is science. It's like, no, it's not. And then they're like, well, you're not scientific. It's like, really? So it's very psychological warfare-ish.
It is.
Yeah. They really I think about that like, man.
But it's taxpayer funded and it's pushed on us in our public school system. And that's where it makes it wrong. That's why debating these people, pushing against it is totally legit because it's pushed on us. If it was a
Mhm,
religion like any other religion, start a school of evolution, private school
mhm,
that people can join, and that's fine. Probably nobody
mhm.
would join it, but that's another issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Alexis says, MD, I know they're zombified, but do you honor veterans who have died in the Middle Eastern wars? I feel like I feel for them like Pat Tillman. I tell people like I have feelings for everybody that has passed and stuff like that, even if they're not veterans, just good people. But the thing is they have passed, right? I feel for them in a different way. Like, wow, Pat Tillman woke up. He woke up and then he was ended, according to what the parents were saying. So, and military documents did come out eventually about friendly fire and stuff like that. So when I look at these guys that were over there that passed, they were men that were deceived into believing that they needed to be in a foreign land attacking people that personally had did no wrong to them. So neither of those people that were there ending each other needed to be there. So I feel, I mean, I don't know where they would be, but I think that they were wronged. I really think though every soldier that was out there because he didn't want to be out there, I think was wrong. Yep, he signed his debt. Yep, exactly, exactly. He didn't know. He believed in the illusion. He believed that saying something wouldn't get him killed. And that's a dangerous belief, because we saw that seemingly what happened uh, was to the contrary. I mean, that's what happens when you blindly go in thinking patriotism, thinking that this is here to help you. No, it's here to use you, and it'll help you a little as long as it can use you. Whether it uses you against the other citizens to keep them moving, it's ingenious when you think about the way the system is orchestrated.
Hmm.
It's the Wizard of Oz. It's straight Wizard of Oz. Nobody thinking about Biden with the $180 billion. $180 billion. That's crazy. That's
I think the
literally
biggest,
crazy. Huh?
yeah, I think the one of the worst examples, actually watching a bit of Apocalypse Now on YouTube is for free, and it's like that Vietnam War. I think is even the worst example of it because you saw what happened to a lot of those soldiers coming back with mental health
Hmm.
problems.
Yeah.
So what did like over 2 million Vietnamese died in that war? I mean, that really that was probably one of the worst examples of fighting for something that really they shouldn't have been have anything to do with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. It's horrible. I mean, you look, people are scarred. Those guys are just now getting old enough to where they're passing the ones that didn't end themselves after coming back.
yeah.
You know, they
Difference
say
is
what?
we have all this technology. They didn't have so much hand-to-hand fighting, I guess, or up close. They, use missiles, use more.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really, really crazy stuff. I mean, again, it looks, when you think about even the war like that, it's like another experiment to
it
see
is.
how humans are going to behave under that type of an environment. Will they slay their brother if
Hmm.
pushed? It's really, if you look at it as an experiment, it gets kind of Twilight Zone-ish. It really does. It gets
And it
very,
happens
very
all over the
cool.
world too. It's not just America. It's all over the world that we've seen these atrocities being committed.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it does happen all over. It's like
Yeah,
we're in the bubble, basically. A lot of people live in this bubble called America, and they never travel outside of it. They never get to see the world, you know.
yeah.
And yeah, I wonder if the lottery tickets are randomly chosen. I really do, Alexis. I wonder about that, and I say, man, the pre-selected winners, there is no way they would allow a random person who isn't compromised to have millions of dollars. Yep. That's a very, very realistic thing. And I've wondered that too. You know what movie touched upon that was The Running Man.
Mhm.
I think it was produced in the late 80s, maybe early 90s.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. And it showed, like, they had to run for their life in the game show, and they showed the winners from last season. Oh, they're on vacation. And when they got to the real nitty gritty, those winners were dead in the locker rooms from
Yeah.
2, 3, years ago. And they're like, yeah, this is what we do to them. And, when you look at just, I mean, how deep this illusion goes, how much we think that something was something, these lottery winners, yeah, it really does seem, I would say, the majority. I don't see how. Yeah, you're right. I don't see how they're just going to let the random person have that. Yeah, I really don't. And lottery, I forgot what kind of tax they call it, like a poor tax, like a tax on the poor. Um, it was some type of, like, I don't know. They didn't call it like stupidity tax or anything. It wasn't that. It was a let me see, what type of tax is the lottery called? If it has it. Nah, it goes up into, hmm. Nah, they just
Well, there was a case of a guy in Florida who won the lottery, and then he got ended by people around him because
really.
he was flashing the cash and giving people money, and everybody knew he won it. And they ended up finding him buried underneath the house.
Oh my
So
goodness.
people do win it. People do win it.
That goes back to that thing, the road to hell, paved with good intention.
Yeah. Oh no, I actually, I mean, I can't vouch for everything like the Powerball, but I definitely think there's winners for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a few that'll slip through. I would think
yeah,
so.
I've actually seen a winning lottery ticket for like 100,000. So it
Really?
does happen. Not me personally, but a place I worked at one time. It was like a lottery club, but I've seen the ticket. I've actually seen the ticket. The numbers came out,
Hmm.
you know, for like over 100 grand. So yeah, people do win it. People do win it. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, they still make a lot of money on it anyway, because the amount of money that goes into it is far greater than the prize. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they
there's
say
winners, but
they call it a tax on the poor. It's
yeah,
like a
well, it's like
mental
casinos,
tax.
in Vegas. They don't need to cheat because even though people think, oh, they cheated, they cheat. No, they don't really have to because the people will keep coming and keep gambling, and it's more about keep coming back and losing everything, which is what most people do.
Hmm.
You know, even if they win, they lose. Because they don't stop coming, and they know that.
Yeah, they
So,
say state lotteries exploit the poor. So lotteries and
mhm.
video games actually
Well,
are
they're
two.
uneducated.
Huh?
They think it's a good financial plan. I mean, some of these people, like the Powerball gets so huge, I've seen it in real life. They'll buy $100, $200 worth of tickets, and it's like that really doesn't improve your chances that much.
Hmm.
But they don't do the math, They think
Yeah.
they can win it.
They say only
Yeah.
the state can run lotteries. That's crazy.
Hmm. Well, the Powerball goes all over the country. I don't know how that works.
They're saying to win the mega Powerball, it's like picking a single four-leaf clover from a football field while blindfolded.
There you go.
These odds are designed to keep you playing, yeah, and losing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
odd 1 in 10,000. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, that is and the most vulnerable people they say pay the price. That's the a system exploits universal human flaws like the gambler's
Hmm.
fallacy, which makes people's beliefs a win is due after repeated losses.
Yeah. Well, same
Wow.
thing in multi-level marketing. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That targets directly the poor. So you join our multi-level marketing program, you'll get rich. I think it started
Yeah, a
with
lot of
Amway way back in the 60s. Yeah. The poor are constantly targeted for the scams. Why? It's because they're not well educated on them. That's the problem.
mhm, yeah.
Uh,
Blue H trying to win the lottery. Alexis says, Mr. X, that's only 100,000. I'm talking about the lottery wins that are millions. There's no way to truly allow that much money to someone random.
well, the guy who got killed, he won like 20 million in the Florida lottery.
Okay. And then they ended up offing him.
He ended up dead. Yeah. Offed by his
Holy
girlfriend.
smokes.
You can look it up. Florida lottery winner gets killed in Florida, and it'll pop up.
They say the lottery's a trap. Stop playing. It's got some pretty good articles on the lottery.
Hmm.
Yeah, lottery fraud. Yeah, they don't like to talk about that stuff. Yeah. And then people win, and then you get all the restrictions coming out. It's like just pay.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
mean,
how
they
about
tax the hell out
free?
of you too. I mean, half of it goes back to the state anyway. You know?
Yeah. I mean, if they're gonna give me 100 million, great. Give me 50. If
Yeah.
they're saying,
I
oh,
have no
you want it all
complaints.
now, because I heard they take even more if you want it all at once.
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, oh, you want 100, you get 50, you get, I guess it would be 2 million a year for 25 years. something like
Yeah,
that. But even
yeah.
that, they say, okay, take it all right now. We'll give you 25 million. So then now you're losing 25 million on taking it all at once, but you're getting 25 million at once.
Which I'd be happy with anyway.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be happy with that.
I'd be
The only thing
very
I'd
happy.
want is to remain anonymous. I don't want anybody knowing I won it.
Very happy. Yeah.
I wouldn't be buying a Bugatti, that's for sure. You know.
Yeah. I'd be okay if they say whatever because I'd make sure I'm in a probably get something the way I think it was Ice T. I think he bought like an apartment building and had like all his friends and people, that were cool with him live there. So you basically have like a whole buffer zone
Yeah.
and then you have eyes and ears everywhere basically.
Right.
So even though you win that much money, you still secure yourself. Yeah, like that guy, yeah, that's messed up. That's messed up. But hopefully, yeah. I mean, sometimes you look at that like wow, that's hmm. Yeah, it could be. Some people do say it could be a curse, it could be a blessing. Basically knowing what to do to have that vision to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
I think where people get it wrong is they start thinking just because they won the lottery that they're smart now. No, you're the
That's
same person you were before you won the lottery. You're not a financial genius. You got lucky. And that's where they get into trouble. You know, they start thinking, they start having pride, or they think they're more important than they really are. It's like, no, you're the same person. You know, be humble. If you win it, be humble. That's what I would do. Most of the people would see me during the day would probably still think I'm broke. You know, that's how I'd look at it. In
well,
fact, I'd want to look more broke.
if they if they think they're smart from winning it, but they also think that they won from luck. That's the cognitive dissonance. Is to say, wait a second, how could you really be smarter if you won by luck?
Exactly.
It's a chance. Now it's either one or the other.
Well, money
Um,
can play with your mind. It really can. You know,
yes.
it can give you a lot of confidence. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Oh
we're
yeah.
all human. Yeah, but you got to
Definitely.
keep yourself well grounded. Don't think you're something special, and realize that most people won't be happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
most people they'll be thinking, well, am I going to get anything? That's what they're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole bottom line.
Yeah, if you're going to share that kind of information, the next sentence should be, okay, now what do you need? I'll
Mm-hmm.
buy it for you. You need a car, you need a house, I'll get it for you. Because that should be the next sentence. Because that's what everybody thinks. It's like, well, wait a minute, we're friends. You got to get me something now. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
it's human instinct, human instinct. But to think that everybody's just going to be happy for you, congratulate you, have a nice day. It's like those people who win the lottery and go back to work at the same job, and then everybody hates them. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because you didn't get it. You know, like, oh, I
Yeah.
love my
Exactly.
job. Yeah,
That's
but then
crazy. That's insane. I could see going back before you get the money just to make sure, like, look, until the money's deposited, I ain't looking at this as it's real, because
right,
you don't want something to happen and then they're like, oh, you didn't really win it or something. You say, okay, I won it, right? All right, well, let me see the money. And that's the whole thing. Say, okay, you're telling me I won. You can take your vacation, whatever, to go through all of the stuff to get the winnings. And then once you know you got them, yeah, why would you ever
go back to
want?
work. They think they're
Yeah,
the friend. You know, they're kind of they're
why?
naive. They think these
Well,
people
why
are
would you ever
actual
want to do that?
friends. Yeah,
That is
but,
so zombie. It's just ridiculous.
right.
It's saying
But
you
then the
don't know
zombie
what
has
to
to
do
wake
with
up.
$10 million.
Yeah, but then when they see the hatred from the other people that they never expected because they thought they were their
Oh
friends,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, yep. Oh, now you woke up. You got out of your trance. Like everybody hates my guts now. What is this?
Hmm.
It's like, yeah,
No,
because you don't understand human nature.
exactly,
It's,
exactly. It's
yeah,
like you win so much money and you're back there. Those people would be dying to leave that place.
exactly. They're there because they have to be there, and you're there just for that, just to be an asshole. I mean, just
Just straight.
and then you're bragging about it too, and thinking everybody should be happy for you. That's the worst part.
It's
Yeah,
like the
you can
only
read
way they're
stories
going to
about
be
that all the
happy is if
time.
you go there and give them money.
Exactly.
It's the
That's
only
what they
way.
want. They want something out of it too. Human nature, you know. That's why I would want to keep it quiet. I'll
Yeah.
share it with my close,
But
with my
I
my,
think
my
like
kid.
Brian was saying that he said some of them make you reveal, but I have heard some like back in the day where yeah, they tell you they prep you
Hmm.
because they know like honestly they say your biggest the people that are gonna really come at you are family and friends.
That's right.
Those are you have to actually be careful, they were saying. They're saying don't
Oh
answer
yeah.
the phone, don't do nothing, get to they just really put them in like a protection program. People will try to do some crazy stuff, man.
I mean, I'd share it
Somebody
with my
knows.
daughter because there's my daughter, but that's about it, and family.
Hmm.
That's it. Because, it's doesn't matter either way, It's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not something to brag about. And it's plus their
Hmm.
job that you have, somebody else might need that job who really has to pay bills who doesn't have anything. So you shouldn't be keeping that job anyhow.
Yeah.
Create your own job. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah. I tell you. But yeah, man. 1 in the morning over here. Yeah.
Hey, great stream, MD. Thanks for having
Thanks,
it.
man. Always a pleasure having you, bro. Yeah, we'll talk tonight. See what the topic is. You guys take care in the chat. Thank you for being here. Have a great night.
Have a good night.